Hello, everybody. So, this is another session of Progress in Pajamas, which is our time to come together to find out good things that people are doing and the progress and contributions they're making in the world while we have been in this terrible pandemic. And so we have a friend we want to introduce you to. Cheryl can't make it today, but another friend is going to join us today, Laurie Rourke, and is that right?
Vork, V-O-R-K.
V-O-R-K.
Yep.
And I told Laurie that I got confused because my childhood friend, the Yorks, will know. That's why I'm having a hard time with it. I can remember when we would meet at the Christian Professional Network meetings, and every time Laurie would go around, I would hear her name as my old friend's name. But anyway, so I am so glad that you're here with us today, and I understand that you are going to help us with some issues in taking care of our overall health, and you're going to talk a little bit about how you do that, how you help people.
Okay. All right, well, I wasn't sure what to expect today. I thought it was more of a group discussion and people were going to be asking questions. So I guess I like to think of myself as a master gardener.
Mm-hmm.
If any of you grow plants, have started with seeds or plantlings or a tree. What are you looking at if your plant is starting to get yellow leaves, or the leaves are starting to fall off of your trees, or it's not producing fruit like you're expecting it to? Do you just yank that out and start over, or do you take a look at what's going on in the soil around that tree? And it's really in the soil where a lot of things are happening. And if you kind of look at yourself as either a tree or a plant, taking care of what's going in the root system and the soil surrounding that root is going to be impacting a lot of your health. So that's where I spend a lot of time with people, because a lot of times it's what's going on. It's anything that's going on around them. It could be in their environment. It could be in their diet. It could be habits that they have, like sleep is huge. If people aren't sleeping, that's going to be a big factor for anything. So I just take a look at all of those things, and then I help people understand how that is impacting their body. Like when you go to a doctor, it's like a 5 or 7 minute appointment, and I have no problem with doctors, but it's a different kind of situation. You're going in with a problem, you're expecting a solution, and they're not looking at the whole picture of what's going on in a person, whereas I'm taking a whole person approach to what's going on. And all of those factors like sleep, toxins, food, exercise, breathing, all of those things are very basic things that are going to impact your entire body. So if you're not looking at that, if you're just going in for a pill for an ill or a diagnosis, any diagnosis doesn't really, what I do impacts every diagnosis, but I'm not working from a place of a diagnosis. I'm working from a place of, you're a person, something's going on with your body. How can we correct that? And then we start taking a baby step kind of strategy approach to fixing the underlying problems rather than just masking them.
Well, you're saying that this is what I do. This is how I work. So basically, guys, nowadays we're finding so much more about holistic medicine and true healing by just, as Laurie says, not going to the doctor and just getting something to take care of your symptoms. So tell us a little bit, start from the beginning, exactly what you do. And then you basically are what? Are you a health consultant? Are you a health coach?
Yeah, I'm a wellness coach. Yeah,
a wellness coach.
What I take is a functional approach to that, which is the whole person approach. And the function part comes in where we're trying to restore function to your body. Let's say you've got allergies. Something is dysfunctioning in your system that is making your body hyperreactive to either food or environmental things that are going on. So when you start correcting those problems and fixing, the gut is a big part of that, and your immune system resides in your gut. So a lot of like that can be fixed when you start dealing with that. You know, and part of my story and how I got into this is I was doing that for my whole life. I had such terrible skin when I was a kid that I wouldn't even wear sleeveless blouses because my arms were just covered in pimples, and I was embarrassed by that.
Oh.
I had asthma from the time I was 11, and it was fairly severe going through my early teen and teen years, you know, where I'd be going to the emergency room for treatments because I couldn't breathe. I got thyroid. I was diagnosed with thyroid stuff early in my 20s, which back then was really young. And unfortunately, kids are getting diagnosed with it now. So there are issues that are going on for kids. You know, I had allergies my whole life. I had acid reflux and was told I'd be on acid reflux medication for the rest of my life. And that's one of the worst things you can do. Always getting colds and flus. So I was on antibiotics all the time. Another thing that is breaking down your gut, infertility, and all of those things were not being addressed. They were, you know, they were being addressed in a silo, like you have this symptom, you get this prescription. You have this symptom, you get this prescription, but nobody was looking at as there is something going on in the whole. And once you start fixing what's going on in the whole, then all of the symptoms frequently just fall away.
Well, let's take the one thing a lot of folks deal with, like, and I'm one of those people with acid reflux. So one time a day I have to end up taking Prilosec because for the last couple of years, if I don't take that Prilosec, I will feel something come up in my throat like a burning. And the Prilosec is the only thing that works for that to be gone. So what would you do as a wellness coach to address something like that?
Okay. The first thing I do is I take a detailed health history for people, because a lot of times the problem started way back. And I even go back to when they were born, because that impacts everything that's going on, especially with gut health. That's a big indicator. And so you can kind of see the ripple effects of what has led up to this. And then you know where to start working on addressing the problem from a whole person perspective. You know, you probably didn't get acid reflux overnight. There probably was not one. Can you remember any experience that you had where something just caused it to flare?
No, it just started happening as I got older.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's not, okay. I never had any issues like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's another common thing. A lot of things shift as we get older, and we, for a lot of people, it's not for everybody, but for a lot of people, what you actually have is too little stomach acid, which is causing there's a sphincter between your throat and your stomach that is supposed to stay closed and keep the acid in the stomach, because your stomach needs to be very acidic in order to break down all of the food that it's got to break down. And it's also the first line of defense for pathogens that enter the body. So if there's any bugs or bacteria that are harmful to you that are on foods that you're eating, the stomach acid needs to be very high in order to kill those pathogens and break down the food. So as we age, unless we're taking care of our stomach, and we don't know this because nobody is teaching it, the stomach acid naturally declines with age. So instead of fixing the problem, which was low stomach acid, we're giving people medications to decrease stomach acid, which is making the problem worse in many cases. So, you know, I would help you. I don't take people off medication. That's between you and your doctor, but I can help you rebuild what's going on in your body so that you don't need it. And especially with acid reflux medication, that's something that
Right.
needs to be tapered off if you do decide you want to go off, because it causes rebound if you go off right away. So you do need to work with your doctor on that. But I can also help you with strategies on how to do that. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, certainly. I've got some, I went to a wellness clinic here over on the Nature Coast, and they, Dr. Trish did give me some supplements to start taking, but I am really bad at being consistent with that. And then supposed to wean off of the Prilosec. So yeah, that's good. And well, tell me what you think about essential oils.
I think they can be very helpful. I don't think there's any one thing that does everything for everybody, because we are all unique. And I also like to look at healthcare as a team effort. You know, a lot of times we don't do that. We just think we go to the doctor and they know everything. But doctors are not trained in nutrition. They're not trained in essential oils.
Right.
You know, and that's fine. There's only so much you can squeeze into a brain. So if you have a team approach, and you're looking at somebody like me who can come along and help educate you about what's going on in your body and how you can make manageable steps, because let's admit it, you can't go from 0 to 60 in a day and get everything done. Your body doesn't heal that way, and people's minds don't shift that way. And there's a lot of things with friends and family that are a factor in how you make changes. You know, chiropractic is very helpful for getting the nerves, you know, where they need to be and the muscles aligned and things like that. Acupuncture can be very helpful for many people. So there's, you know, you go to a trainer to train for specific things, and that's part of a team too. So a team approach is really helpful for a lot of people, and most people don't think that way. And they also don't think about investing in their health, because it is an investment, and we're so used to the insurance model that if it's not covered by insurance, I'm not going to do it, because that requires an investment on my part. And I like to look at health as an investment rather than a cost.
Absolutely. And I'm going to reach over here and turn on my fan in a second. But speaking of that, most of the folks, the questions that we've gotten over time have to do with people managing their health during the COVID. A lot of people are talking about the fact that they've had a lot of gained weight. They've had experiences feeling like they're depressed. You know, and then how would you address that so that people could get back on point?
Again, that's going to be individual for each person, but some very basic things. One of the things that really kind of disturbed me when they were coming out and scaring everybody with COVID, and you know, I believe it is a very real thing, and it's something that we need to be careful of. But it seems so simplistic what they were telling people: wash your hands, distance yourself, and those may be very basic things. But nobody was telling anybody how to enhance immune function along the way. And a lot of the things that they were doing were actually harming people's immunity, because they were keeping people inside. So people weren't getting the sunshine that they need, and the vitamin D, which they're now finding is a very important factor in that. So people were locked up. They weren't getting fresh air. They're, you know, it's no wonder people were depressed. Again, vitamin D is the happy vitamin.
Right.
So just by getting outside and walking every day and seeing nature, getting involved, you know, just the simple fact of seeing trees and flowers and things like that. You know, people were glued to their TV, which was just streaming panic into them 24 hours a day. So there's no wonder that was going on. So there's a lot of things that you can do to boost your immunity without that wasn't getting talked about. And you know, there's a lot people can do, even just getting outside and going for a walk, getting some of that morning sunshine, and turning off the TV. That's probably one of the best things people can do.
Well, that's exciting. So Progress in Pajamas was one of the ways that we did that, to try to just say to everybody, just come and as you are. Don't worry about fixing your hair. Don't worry about putting makeup on. Even if you have your pajamas on, the focus is on growth and taking care of yourself, addressing, making progress in what your goals are and what's your passion, what's your mission, what's your vision, and what steps are you taking to go towards that. So that's why we did Progress in Pajamas. So I'm excited about you being on today and telling everybody. Now, typically what we do is we do taped Zoom, which is what we're doing now. And then you'll probably start having some questions, and we might have to bring you back for another Zoom just as to answer questions. But what are you noticing? Is there anything that you feel people need to know during this time based on your coaching experience?
Getting outside is a big thing for people, especially if they've been cooped up. Getting the fresh air, getting sunshine. If you get out 10 to 20 minutes, first thing in the morning. I don't know if people are having trouble sleeping. That will help with sleep too. Being out in nature it's very relaxing. So if you can just find a park and go either sit in it or walk in it and just enjoy the birds singing, feeling the wind on your face, walking gently if you can, or doing more intense exercise if you can. I think those, and breathing. People forget to breathe, especially when they're in a state of panic most of the time. And just, shutting off the TV and not listening to the 24-hour news cycle, I think is very helpful for people. Do something that you enjoy doing. If you love to dance, dance. If you want to listen to music, do that. It's get your mind off of things that are beyond your control a little bit and focus on the important things for you. Spend time with your kids, do something fun, color, whatever works for people.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's very important to pay attention to who's in your daily life, who you're communicating to, and making sure that you've got good energy from people. And also you're, working on your walk with the Lord is what I really believe, your faith, and that all becomes a part
of health to begin with. Spirituality is a very important aspect of health.
Yes. Well, thank you, Laurie. This has been very informative. Although I know you, I didn't realize you were a full-time health coach, even though I knew that this is an area that you did. So I really enjoyed talking with you today. So everybody, we will put Laurie's information up on the website and on the Facebook page. And that way you can reach out to her with more questions, and you'll see her personal information. And she will just be so gracious and helpful to you. So she is working on she is basically an overall health and wellness coach, but she has a lot of extensive knowledge with different medical situations as well. So she will be able to walk you through. So thank you, Laurie, again.
Thank you for having me.
And this is Lisa Helton with Progress in Pajamas, and we'll be back with you soon.
Thank you.